Morning, Gary. You're on mute, Gary.
Councilor Jackson, can you hear us?
I can. You're coming through fine.
There you go. Thank you. Yes. Is it time? We got 1 minute. Okay, thank you. Is it real low?
Does it go down?
It was down on the floor and the mic was way down. This one was deep.
Yeah, when they get off, it bugs me.
Well, whichever one automatically syncs is my chair, so. And they move it around quite a bit.
That is the culprit.
What is it? Who is it?
We don't know.
What's it say?
Actually, chiropractic centers.
Hmm.
Chief, can you do some DNA
Cheney.
analysis?
All right, good morning, everyone. It's 8 o'clock. Welcome to the Village of Ruidoso Workshop. It is October the 4th, 8 a.m. If you'll stand with me and join me for a moment of silence, and then we'll do the pledge. Pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the Zia symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Could I get a roll call, please?
Yes. Good morning, Mayor Crawford,
Here.
Councilor Eby.
Here.
Councilor Luderman,
Here.
Councilor Salas,
Here?
Councilor Hooker,
Here.
Councilor Coughlin.
Here.
Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Is this your first
I'm
round?
sorry, Councilor Jackson.
Here.
Yes, it is my first time.
All right, awesome. You get to ride her hard and put her away wet. Like a, pony at a 6-year-old's birthday party is what they always say. So there's a little ting in there. Can you get that out of there?
I could have been too close to the microphone.
Oh, okay. All right. We're moving on, and we have agenda items. No decisions will be made except for to put it on the consent or regular. Item number 1 is discussion on adoption of resolution 2022-44, a resolution approving the acquisition of real property located at 203 Friedenblum Drive, Ruidoso, New Mexico, and Lincoln County. And this is the, over there by the JUB.
Yep.
Anybody have any questions on it?
Just a couple.
Okay, go right ahead.
One of them, as I read through it, I thought we split the surveying cost, all that closing costs. We're paying 100%, is what I read on the agreement.
Mayor Crawford, Councilor Salas, when we do if we purchase the property, the actual property, and then we will pay we will split the cost of the appraisal. Is that correct, Zach?
Right, I believe he's talking about the survey.
The survey costs, the closing costs, the title
okay.
binder, all that, we're paying 100. I just wanted to clarify. I always thought it was 50-50, but
Mayor
That's
Crawford,
what we
Councilor
agreed
Salas,
to.
I'll look into that on the survey costs. On that, I didn't know for sure on that, but I will double check on that.
okay. And then the other question is, at some time, are we looking at annexing that in?
Mayor Crawford, Councilor Salas, that's in the city of Ruidoso Downs.
Yes. But that's why I'm
yes.
asking, are we looking or thinking about maybe annexing that into Village of Ruidoso? Because, it's right there on our border.
And we could, we've had that discussion, but I'll have to, Tim, rely to Tim on that annexation question. I'm not sure if, can we annex into another municipality?
Mayor, Counselor, that would be if that's something that you wish that we would do, I can file a petition for annexation as a city manager.
Well, it's something I would think we would do since it's right next to our JUB and the street department. Might as well combine it all together. But that's up to the council, mayor, if they want to annex it or not. I could go either way.
Is there any advantage to it?
Currently, it doesn't have utilities, so for us to be able to provide utilities to it, I would assume that we would need to annex it.
Okay, well then, does everybody sound good on that?
And what was it again we were going to be using it for?
Storage and, for some of our vehicles, equipment, materials that we purchase, so they're not out in the sun, so it would be used by
And
the,
then a proposed dumps, convenience station.
well, the property that belongs to us is what we would be using for the convenience.
Right there by the building.
Yes,
Okay.
right adjacent to it. So that would do away with the easement that's currently on it, so that we are allowed to be able to utilize it for our own purposes.
So I guess the question is, if we need utilities, water and sewer from there, that would determine if we need to annex it in.
Yes, Counselor.
Okay.
Unless we approached and got utilities from the city of Ruidoso Downs.
Right.
But, now that we've, built that RJU, I believe we can very easily provide utilities to it ourselves.
Right.
But like up in the, what is it, Ponderosa Heights area, there's, where we've got some of our customers that, some of the downs flowing through our sewer, there's some kind of an agreement between the two municipalities as far as the use of the sewer lines. So that's a possibility, but I don't know if they even have a sewer line going to that building.
Yeah, I don't
Probably
know.
not.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, those were
There's
just my
nothing
two
at the building.
questions, so.
Okay, but it says in the agreement that we're paying all of it.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's what caught my eye.
Okay, so if you'll brief us on that, y'all want that on consent or regular?
Regular.
Yes, regular, please. Or I vote regular.
Item number 2 is discussion and ratification of submission of notice of interest for the Meander Drive Culvert Project to the New Mexico Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management Mitigation Program with a total estimate cost of $1,030,000. Yes, sir, Mr. Boyda?
Mayor Crawford, councilors, I'm Eric Boyda, the Water Resource Director. And so items number 2 and 7, or 2 through 7 are all really similar, so I'm just going to introduce them at the high level, and then we can talk about them each individually. So these are a notice of interest that we need to file with the state. So there's some hazard mitigation funding opportunities through the Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities, the BRIC program through FEMA, and then the hazard mitigation grant application process through DHSEM. But the state controls the access to that. And so we would be a sub-applicant underneath the state. So this notice of interest is just telling the state, we're interested in applying for this. The state's then going to respond, yes, we'll let you apply for this project, and you can only apply for it under this fund or this fund. So both of the funding sources are have a 25% match requirement, and we are applying for some other grants to try to help, but we haven't necessarily outlined the explicit match component for this. But this isn't any type of financial obligation. This is just us getting the authorization that we can apply for these grants. So this first one is for the Meander Drive project. Talked about it quite a bit, but looking at replacing that undersized culvert and possibly doing some type of high flow overflow over the top of the road, because we're never going to be able to fit the capacity needed in that crossing in that small gap.
Didn't you give us this last time? You had some pictures and the size and all that? Okay, so this is just a follow-up of that.
Yeah, and there was a deadline or some,
Yeah, so
that I had to get the paperwork in to say notice of, that we were intending to do it. There was no financial obligation or whatever, but to get us a placeholder or in time, so.
Yeah.
So that's all of these next ones. That's the Boyda show this
So
morning.
one culvert, well, and I know it's road work too, but that's $1 million?
But we're doing an expanded bridge, right?
This one would still
Box.
likely be some box culverts.
Remember how they were talking about going the bigger?
But, and we are Gavlin, and then you turn on Meander. It's that one right there by the maintenance yard.
And, you know, the other thing to recognize too is that there's a major sewer line going through there underneath the culvert crossing, and then there's a water line on top. So there's utilities that we have to
Yeah.
address. And, you know, our estimates for costs, we're trying to be conservative on the higher side
Yeah.
so that we make sure that we can cover the costs. Because we don't exactly have a design yet. We have a preliminary design in process, and so we kind of got
Swag.
ideas.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go ahead and discuss all of them, then y'all can tell me if you want them on regular or on,
So the Gavin Canyon Culvert near Janet Drive, this one is a county project, so the matching component wouldn't be on us, it would be on the county, but we are just acting as the project managers because we're applying for these projects collectively.
I remember you saying that last time, so.
Janet Drive is above Warrior.
So.
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, so
in the
Janet-
county.
Janet
Right.
Drive is right there at the storage units.
Yeah.
And then the culvert just to the north of that on the main stem, that's the one we're
Okay.
talking about. See, item number 4 is the Warrior Drive culvert. And then item number 5 is our Rio Ruidoso River Restoration Project. And so this one's a little bit more complicated. I haven't really talked about this as much as the culverts. So after the July 2021 flood, myself and then our engineer, Chris Phillips, we ended up walking the river, I think, 3 times in total, the whole stretch through town. So we identified a series of deficiencies in the river, whether it's utility crossings, so water line crossings. We have our sewer line crossings that were not part of the hazard mitigation project. You know, we've got bridges, roads, and houses, and there's a lot of potential damage that we need to mitigate, especially in terms of the river cutting down. So as we have these high flows, the river wants to really cut down. So this $4 million project is meant to kind of be a sister project to the hazard mitigation project and then also the emergency watershed protection program that we're doing. So this is kind of covering everything else that those projects aren't covering to mitigate the impacts of flooding through natural solutions. So this would be using natural rock weirs, a lot lower impact, less trees being removed, and it should elevate the functionality of the river, the ecological functionality. So this project, we applied for a river stewardship grant through the state, and we requested that the state offer us as much unmatched funds so that we can leverage those funds towards this process. So I put in for a $1.2 million grant with the state, and that would cover the match as long as the state allows us to use their funds for match.
So this is basically our version of what we declined with NRCS.
This is
'Cause a lot of those pictures-
This is our version of the stuff that the NRCS.
Wouldn't cover.
Yeah,
Yeah, because they wanted to do it their way, which was just gonna kick the can down the road and create more problems
Correct.
later.
and this has some additional things that the
Right.
NRCS wouldn't even consider covering.
Right. Yeah, I remember all these plans. Okay.
Next.
Okay, the North Grindstone Canyon Drive Bridge. So this is on the north side of
Rio.
Sudderth. So then there's Rio is the next street, and then it drives over to Fern Trail. So that bridge is in our assessment of the river. The bridge itself isn't damaged, but the way that they constructed the bridge, they filled in a portion of the river to reduce the span of the bridge. And so there's a hydraulic restriction there that's causing a lot of sediment to deposit on the backside. And we didn't have any issues with the flood event, but I could see it in the future being a flood issue. And so in discussions with DHSEM, they said, you know, when you apply for the BRIC funds, they want big projects. So they asked us to apply for anything that we've identified as a deficiency, and this bridge is one of our deficiencies that we need to see about replacing with a wider span bridge.
And the only reason is because it's a choke point there,
Correct.
because that one's weathering them all.
Yeah, sure.
And so, it's done well because it's a single span bridge, but that can only help us so far when it still acts as a choke point.
Be nice if we could fix that street too. Those gutters are getting pretty deep right there.
They are.
That's rough.
On Grindstone from Suttereth down,
Okay.
you know, it's because we keep piling and keeping the runoff, but during the winter, people slide over and get stuck in there.
So if we move forward with that project, we can probably expand it to include the drainage on Grindstone.
Okay? Eric said we can fix that.
With your funding approval.
Yike.
So item number 7 is the Gavlin Canyon Road Bridge. This is probably one of the biggest bridges remaining that's not currently covered under FEMA funds. It's the 3 box culvert bridge on Gavlin Canyon Road. Some of the, you know, in the last debris flows it clogged up, in the July flood it clogged up, and the only reason as it clogged up in some of these other debris flows is just because Adams staff are out there proactively cleaning it during flooding events.
Is this by the park?
Yes.
Yeah, about White's or,
Yeah.
So, you know, part of the large cost too in the bridge is, you know, this one's gonna be similar to like Close Road or, you know, Main Road 1.
Road.
So it's gonna be a bigger bridge. But then also, if you've ever been to that location, there's like an 8-foot gradient change from the upstream to the downstream side. And so that has to be transitioned through a series of rock weirs, so that we can have the water transition from that grade down.
so what's the estimated timeline? Best guess.
So we would not probably be looking at doing construction on these projects for 18 months if we got approval. So it's gonna be a 2 to 3 year total process.
And the matching on it is, what percent?
25%. So
So we're looking at $10.5 million, and you take out the 530 for the county.
correct, and then
So
hopefully.
10 million, wow, 2.5?
Yep, so we need about $2.5 million of match. But, you know, with the time frame, we still have until next fiscal year. And, you know, we're actively looking at pursuing funds that would be available for matching. And
The other 1.2.
yeah, so, you know, the 1.2, if we can get that will help out substantially with.
Mayor Crawford, in that email that was sent to us yesterday on the availability of funding, there was a state appropriation in there to match federal grants. So
Okay.
it's listed in there for that type of a purpose.
So
So
with
we can
that,
go after that.
I'm sorry, Tim. So we're lumping this all together.
Well, they're each individual. I was just saying, if they all come home, what's our outstanding?
But all of this, we're asking for a
So what
total.
had happened is the DHSEM, the Department of Homeland Security, had asked us to apply for each one in the notice of interest individually because they have different pockets of funds. So they wanted to know, okay, this one's gonna work better here, we're gonna put it here. But when we have all these projects, if we're putting in for a BRIC grant, all of them are associated with flooding, so we would put them all together as a flooding project in the village of Ruidoso.
Okay. I know all of these are a priority, but especially that bridge by, because it, you know, that
By the
floods all
what?
by the park.
Oh,
Because that, you know, it floods all the people down And then, of course, you know, we work on that ballpark, and then if it floods it. I know all of these kind of go hand in hand together, but
And, you know, even these, you know, collectively, these seem big in our mind, but the BRIC fund nationwide is just a hair under $1 billion. So they want big projects because it's easier administratively to handle.
Eat the money up.
Yep.
okay. Thanks,
So
Aaron.
next question, you want these on discussion, or do you want
I
to?
got a couple of
go ahead.
questions right quick. So on the first sheet of the application, what you say, item number 9, it says this project will include a request for sub-recipient management. What does that mean? Which we said no, but why are we saying no?
So that's available funding that's allowed to pay for the management of it. And so I went that route because it should make us more competitive in the process.
Okay.
Not having a 5% administrative management. So, you know, that would be really helpful if we didn't have staff that were capable of managing the project. So since we're busy here, but we do have the capacity, it should make us more competitive.
Or for the quality control and all that, quality assurance. And then as I went through and most of all of them, and I'm thinking we're just using the closed road bridge as an example of what bridges we're putting on there?
So, in the notice of interest, they asked for conceptual drawings and other things, so
Okay.
I just included 2 types of bridges, so the close road bridge was like the pre-constructed concrete bridge, and then I attached the design for Robin Road Bridge, which is an iron girder, single span bridge. So it's likely that in the analysis, it would be one or the other.
Because that's what threw me off. I said, well, this is from Culvert Road Bridge or something, so I
just
didn't know
wanted to show
that
that we, you know, we have some knowledge on bridges.
on bridges and stuff. Okay. That sounds good.
Eric, as far as timelines go, so this is just asking permission to apply. When are the applications due, and then when do we anticipate grant awards being made?
So I believe that the state is going to make a decision on these by the end of the month for us to be able to apply. And I think that the applications are due towards the end of December. And then I think it's almost a year out before we even get a response from FEMA.
Okay.
So it's a long ways out.
Okay. So we're 15 months out possibly from getting any possible awards, and then the construction after that.
Correct.
Okay.
It is worth noting that, you know, with our contract that we have with the Du Bois and King, we're going to have a 60% design on at least the culverts and Gavlin Canyon Bridge. So when we do have the funding, we're kind of jump-started on that process, and we should be able to finish the design relatively quick and get that moving into construction.
Okay, thank you.
And the design will include
Mr. Mayor, I had a question also. So in a perfect world, if all this comes together, are we budgeted to fulfill our portion, even though we're looking at maybe 18 to 24 months down the road?
I think that's Judy.
Mayor, Counselor, on that, you know, we do have future funds that we'd be earmarking when the time came for us to obligate funds. At this time, there's no financial commitment. It's just a letter of interest. In the meantime, we're going to.
No, I get that. I'm just asking down the road as we kick that can, are we set up to fulfill our requirements?
Yes, I believe so. And in addition to that, we are going to be looking
Thank
for
you.
other state funds to match the grants as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, the roads, you know, like the one on Warrior Drive where we were talking about maybe reconfiguring that to have a low spot. Was that all going to be figured into these two?
Correct.
Okay. Anybody else? So do you guys want to talk about these individually in the council meeting? Do you want to, since it's just putting out the notice that we're interested, you want to just do an agenda, a consent, and then we'll be out of there in 30 minutes and set a record?
I'd say consent.
I was gonna say consent because it is, just like you said,
Yeah.
intent. I mean,
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to do, excuse me, 2 through 7 on consent. Jenny, do you get tired of people saying that? Jenny? Okay. So we'll do consent.
I'm sure there can be plenty other items that will take us over.
Yeah, that
30
will,
minutes.
will get filled up.
I don't even say anymore. It's like, oh yeah, it's a short agenda. We'll be out of there quick.
Yeah, they're in an hour.
4 hours later.
Okay, item number 8. Thank you, Mr. Boyd. Discussion on award of ITB number 2023-006B and contract to the responsive low bidder for the Two Rivers Habitat Improvement Project. And we had, how many bids did we have, did you say?
So, for this one, we had,
Okay, thank you, Mayor and Council. Andrea Hedis, Purchasing Agent. So this one, we went to bid for the Two Rivers Habitat Improvement Project. We held the bid opening on last Thursday. We received one bid, which was Andamo Sanchez Excavation and Trucking, Inc. We did review the bid for responsiveness and verified the amounts. The total with New Mexico gross receipts tax is $188,359.79. They were responsible and responsive, meaning they submitted all the documents that they were required to and had the proper licensing. So we're recommending, I guess we're discussing the recommending awarding for this project to them.
Okay,
we'll have the recommendations by our meeting next week?
And the
Or by
contract?
Thursday?
yes, so we have it now. The bid reports and stuff are done. It's just by the time we needed these agendas, I didn't have it available.
Okay.
And part of the tight schedule was we wanted to get it in before, it started snowing and getting too cold. I did also want to point out that Andamo Sanchez did the Grindstone Canyon wetlands, and he's also done a massive amount of in-stream river work in New Mexico. So
okay.
very qualified individual
Yeah,
to
that
do
was
this type of
good.
work.
I didn't recognize the name though.
He's out of Cuesta.
What's the-
And you said it was 188,000 or so?
Yeah, $188,359.
Wow, under budget. Don't see that too often.
And so, and you'll get the contract to legal and have them make sure that all of our usual stuff, including gross receipts tax and also the punitive portion is in there, whatever,
Yes, sir.
just to make sure we've followed that.
And so that, I'm trying to get justification of using SGRT.
So
Money.
it's SGRT out of the environmental SGRT.
Oh, okay. If you could add that on the agenda, just, environmental. Because I always get hit on SGRT
Yep.
money all the time, and
Yeah.
I used to, and I haven't, nobody said that lately.
you're probably sending them to me.
Probably not,
right
yeah.
there.
I don't know, but that's a rifle specialty. Okay, anybody else?
I've got something. Eric,
ahead.
When do you think this project, once we get it all lined up, when do you think we could start on this?
So I know that Andamo is working on a project in Cuesta right now that should be done the last week of October. Our intent is to issue the notice of
Word?
the notice to proceed, sorry.
Proceeding.
Two notices for today. The notice to proceed is actually gonna be issued 2 days after the council meeting. So
Oh, okay.
that's gonna start their 60-day window. So they should be done before Christmas.
Oh, okay.
Well before that. And based on how I understand Andamo works, he'll finish this project in about a week. So there shouldn't be too much disturbance in town. It should be, I'm anticipating it will be done well before Thanksgiving.
Okay. Consent or regular?
Regular,
Regular.
only because we don't have all the documentation.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Number 9, thank you. Discussion on agreement with Renegade Construction LLC through CES for 2906 Sutter Drive Sidewalk Project. Okay, you corrected the address, thank you. JOC General Contract 2021-10 in the amount of $82,009, and that includes gross receipts tax. Yes, sir.
Mayor, Council, this is actually the property at 2906. They're updating that property. They're trying to pave their driveway. As you know, if you guys looked at that, there's really nothing for them to tie into. And looking at the sidewalks from 2906 all the way up to the circle, you know, they're in decrepit shape, so.
And if you hadn't looked at that strip mall, they've done a lot of work on it.
Is that the one on the right-hand side as you're going up there?
I'm
You know how it was
surprised.
all tore up and we were constantly after the lady?
Yeah, the one that should have been demolished.
Well, she's gone in there and worked on the inside, put new stucco, roof, windows, doors, and maybe she sees what's happening.
I was worried that it wasn't structurally
Structurally, right.
sound.
Well, our roads will be structurally sound.
And you're gonna do some rollover curbs and,
We'll do the over curbs in front of the 2906, and then sidewalk all the way up to the circle, and then fix some of the curbing along the way.
Love it.
Just on the one side or both sides?
For now, just on the one side.
The one side.
And, you know, Cutler has come in and repaved a portion of that, and then Smithco has actually repaved their portion. And we're looking at some options for restriping in that area for parking.
Okay.
And then what about the circle?
it's already been redone, and then, there's, you know, we're still a ways out on figuring out the design. I don't know how you get rid of all those signs, because one of them says one way, one of them says yield, you know. But we're gonna have to have some thought looking at that so that the average Joe, because there was some discussion, we walked that area the other day, it was like, can we not fix that up because we had the upper, what are we calling them? Upper Canyon Historic Area Board, whatever. That, I need to remember that. Anyway, they want to tighten all that up and then fix up this traffic circle, the inside of it. And there's already electrical and water there, or water?
There's water there.
Just water.
Water, but they were wanting to get rid of some of those little islands, but it's directing you where you gotta go.
Right.
So they're gonna have to have some thought, we'll have to have some thought put in that, but we're still a ways away from that. Right now, we're just looking at the sidewalks, and then we have some other things we're looking at over there too.
And it's actually part of the co-op project for Josh this next year to actually finish up that circle and go up
Okay.
East Street also.
Okay.
Well, that's been an eyesore for me.
Oh, man, I know it.
I was right across the street from that, lining up for the parade, and I didn't even notice.
That she had fixed it up?
Yeah.
But you get used to not looking
Yeah,
at nasty
exactly.
stuff,
I
you
think
know?
that's it.
But I was really, it was nice. I thought she'd sold it, and then I found out she still has it. So, all right, so that's $82,000, and that's the co-op funding?
No, sir. This is, the co-op funding is for the Upper Sutter to go up D Street.
Oh, okay, that's right. So where's this money coming from? What are you looking at her
General
for?
fund.
She's the money lady.
Is this general fund?
I'll have to double check, it doesn't ring a bell.
Uh-oh.
That's what I figured. Since it wasn't listed, it always comes out of general fund.
Yeah. So let us know on that. So we'll put that on regular.
Regular, yes.
Hey, while we got you here, Chair Calwa, we've got, it's not really your department, but do you know anything about it?
The house there, I've seen it and I've had, some conversation about it, but I haven't really.
Okay, it's not in your area. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Item number 10, discussion on award of RFP 2023-002P to Sky Elements LLC for drone light show services.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This one, we went out for a solicitation on RFP for drone light show services to host our July 4th event and our Christmas event. We went out for an RFP and we scored it based on qualifications and experience, project approach, references and past performance and cost. We received 2 proposals for that from Pixie Drones and Sky Elements. And the recommendation is to go with Sky Elements. They received a higher score for this, for the award of this contract. We're looking to award it for 1 year with an option to renew for 3 years. If everything goes as we like, then we can renew their contract instead of going out for RFP every year.
Well, it was close,
It was close.
by my math, by like 1 point, if it wasn't for the cost, so that was where they, and is this the same one we used last time?
I'm not sure. I wasn't here for the last one.
Anybody know?
I believe so. The name's familiar.
How much? I don't see the,
39,000, and then on the,
1 point.
scoring summary is what I was looking at. They were,
I didn't see, oh, right there, I see
they
it.
were, the other one, Pixie was ahead until you got to cost. They were 3 points ahead until you got to cost, and then it was 10-6, so.
What, so is that for both shows?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And then I saw somebody posted one on Facebook of, I think one down by Albuquerque or somewhere that.
The balloon, I saw
Fest
that.
they had all kinds of shapes and,
Oh, they had a drone show there?
Yeah, I
really
saw
super
that.
nice
The
one.
balloons were beautiful on it.
So well, I guess that would be more a question for Sydney, but she's not here. I was gonna say, do we know, are they gonna be able to handle the cold weather for the Christmas one? Because that was an issue last time. That's been addressed. Okay.
It has been? Okay. All right.
I will verify that.
Regular consent.
I just thought the Christmas show was a lot better than 4th of July. But
Y'all want this one on consent, and then 11 we'll talk about on regular, or do you want to, what's your pleasure?
Sounds good.
Okay, and does anybody have any questions on number 11?
Nope.
Okay,
I don't.
No.
all right. Okay, thank you very much. And then, of course, we'll have the regular items. Do we have any, go ahead.
Mayor, on that, number 10 is consent, and
Number-
number 11 regular.
Number 10 is consent, number 11 is regular.
Thank you.
And before we talk about closed session, we'll have regular items such as, do we have any boards and commissions this time? I'm not familiar with any.
Yes, we do, to the Housing Board, we have one appointment,
We do?
replacing Becky Brooks.
Oh, yes. I saw Becky, by the way, this weekend, and she looked good. We're replacing her with Deborah.
Mayor, did you receive a resignation from Library Board? Okay,
Not that I'm aware of.
okay.
We're not having any public,
Mayor, we do have presentations under your report, and it's a presentation to the various partners for Ride Ruidoso.
yes?
And then also for Aspen Fest, we're going to be presenting them with their portion of the proceeds from the event.
Yes, Toys for Tots. And then Jenny, make sure we get a hold of Alan Riches
Yes,
so we can give him his plaque.
And then there's also a proclamation.
Proclamation, yes. Do we have all the information?
I believe that Yvonne is still working on that.
Okay, yeah, we'll have the proclamation, and we need to get an invitation with the proclamation
Okay.
so that he's here.
Then also, kind of a follow-up on what Hooker brought forth, Councilor Hooker brought forth last meeting about the High Mountain Youth, asking if they could make a presentation. I just wonder if that was scheduled or not.
See, when they talked to me, I just gave them the information and said, get a hold of Village Hall to put that in. It was up to them.
I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I'd like to see how much they progressed. So if we want to reach out, I've got some phone numbers, but see if they want to come and do a, 5-minute presentation.
Do we want to reach out to them or see if they want to come to us?
Well, I don't, it
Make
seems
the-
like, I talk to those people all the time. It seems like somebody asked me something about that, but I don't know.
Oh.
You have any input on that
No.
matter?
Well, I'll see Dave Tomlin here in a little bit. I've got to go over to the LCAL meeting at the library, and supposedly he's going to be there, so I can ask him about that.
Okay.
So if he
Either one.
confirms, would you like me to have him call the
Yep,
meeting?
Jenny.
Mayor, under the manager report, I'm going to report on the rural addressing.
Okay.
I'm going to report on housing, and then is there anything else that you'd like?
Chair
me-
Cowwood, just an update on what's going on over there.
He's a mess, man.
And
Oh,
then,
that's awful.
and then, there was another thing.
Mayor, on that one, the work has been completed that was under the scope, and they're looking at revising that to add in some additional area there as well.
Okay.
So all the trash is gone?
No, that's what, but I understand what he's saying. There's 2 lots there and we didn't include both lots.
We, Mayor Ron and I have gone by, the majority of the litter has been picked up. There's just still some debris, like on the, there's another deck in the front with stuff just hanging off of it, and weeds and things of that nature, so.
Does
I
the same
think to do
person
it-
own that second lot?
Yes.
But because we didn't include it in the description?
Yep.
So that's on the south side? The second lot's on the south side?
Mayor, Councilor, yes. One of the things, and, community development's been working on it within our ordinance, when a house is on, encompassing 2 different lots, normally you're supposed to do a summary replat. For whatever reason on this one, they occupy both lots, but it's, summary replats weren't required at that time, or the planning and zoning didn't include that in the process at the time. So that's another problem that we're running into quite a bit, is survey issues and, summary plats and how things were working in the past. So I think that's, as I look further into it, that's probably the reason why that lot wasn't included in the whole process.
Okay.
Mayor, let's include all of the properties that we've been asking about for all.
Do you want to report?
Yes.
What was the other properties?
Well.
There's a whole list of them.
Yeah,
Yeah, just to see where we're at on them.
yeah.
There goes your 30-minute meeting.
Yeah.
There's also, Mayor and Council, a public hearing for a Restaurant B liquor license for Mama Lucy's Cafe.
Well, that's right.
And then, under regular items, also discussion and possible action on an adoption of a resolution for Water Trust Board, I believe. Is that correct, Eric and Judy?
Okay.
I don't have any further information on that.
I don't see anything else. Okay, so what do we have closed session today?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if I can get a motion to move into closed session, there's nothing else, is there, Jenny?
No, sir.
Oh, Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
move that we go into closed session with discussion subject to the attorney-client privilege pertaining to threatened or pending litigation in which the Village of Ruidoso is or may become a participant, citing 1015-1H7 NMSA 1978. Any action taken as a result of the closed session will be brought back into the open session. Are you just going to dial me in on that one, or on the
Yeah,
phone, or
I'll
how?
call you if that's all right with you.
Second.
Sounds good.
Okay, roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Jackson?
Aye.
Counselor Coughlin?
Aye.
Counselor Eby?
Aye.
Counselor Luderman?
Aye.
Counselor Hooker?
Aye.
Counselor Salas?
Aye. All right, we will be back.
Mayor, and I would request that we start off with Zach and Ron in there first.
Okay.
And then we'll call other staff as we need them.
Okay.
So Judy, Chris, and Jenny, if you could be ready, we'll call you in. Yeah.